Educational psychology plays a role in development that I wasn't aware of at the beginning of this semester. The impact is great, and students deserve teachers that understand its impacts. Each of us was once a student, nervous to begin school or experiencing difficult circumstances. What do you wish your teacher knew? What could your teacher have done to understand you better or help you find success? Educational psychology informs future teachers ways to help students through crises and learning points in their life. Throughout my educational career, I had many teachers that saw me as their own child. They truly loved me and wanted me to see success. This happened in a period in my life when I needed it most. My mom was diagnosed with cancer, and this event had a huge impact on my life at that stage. Yuri Bronfenbrenner studied the Bioecological Theory. He determined that our environment shapes us and sets us up for our future. Each circle of our life impacts the next, from the direct person to the historical events taking place. As a teacher, I want to care for each student as a whole, starting at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Building each child up from their basic needs is how I will be able to get them to learn and self-actualize. Without relationships, I don't believe students will feel the love and nurturing they need to learn comfortably. Maslow lays the foundation for Bronfenbrenner's work, that teachers need to start with the child and their basic needs because everything they do, learn, and experience directly impacts them and their development. During that time in my life, my teachers knew that I needed love and extra support or I wouldn't be able to learn, and that is what they provided for me. Along with Bronfenbrenner and Maslow, Vygotsky discussed the importance of interaction and impact of environments on children's development. Cooperative learning allows students to work together to build their knowledge. I want my future students to be in a collaborative space where they are allowed to discuss their learning in hopes of building off of one another when solidifying knowledge. Another important skill for teachers to incorporate is scaffolding. Each child is different and will develop at different rates. I want to ensure that students are supported through the learning process and given the tools for success. Scaffolding gives students support, but then expects a release of responsibility to be proficient at the skill individually. Giving responsibility gradually helps students grow. As elementary school begins, students start spending more time with their teacher and classmates than their own family. Students will start the battle of industry versus inferiority. Erik Erikson created stages of conflict in one's life depending on the age of a person. In elementary school, students battle the idea of proving that they're grown up enough and can be independent when necessary. Schools have a huge impact on development, not just of knowledge, but also social skills and civic competency. During this stage, students also begin to depend heavily on peer relationships and how other people perceive them. It is important for students to build relationships with peers because they can be a provider of security for students when other relationships struggle. Not only is it helpful for students to have friendships, but children learn a lot from each other. Peer interaction can teach a child so much, good or bad. Peer acceptance becomes important for students during this time as well. It's natural for students to accept others easily because of similarity or friendship. In my classroom, I want each child to feel accepted by their peers and like they matter. Creating a family environment can be difficult, but I believe it can help students feel more comfortable and reach their goals. An important tool in a child's life is a more knowledgeable other. This concept comes from Vygotsky and his research. I had the chance in high school to be a more knowledgeable other for some elementary students. I was able to help them in the classroom and play with them on the playground. Being able to assist them in the classroom showed how much growth they were getting from simply asking questions and discussing learning with someone else. The students in the classroom followed so much of what I did and imitated my actions. Not only were the students learning from me, but from each other. They were also teaching me so much as well. Having this type of role model can be a great impact on development. Giving my students this opportunity in my classroom is a hope of mine. Teaching and learning provide an avenue for information to be passed on to others. Throughout one's educational career, so much learning can take place and so much knowledge can be gained in many subject areas. Something that my teachers taught me about learning is that it teaches you about yourself more than anything. Each assignment and new piece of material taught me the type of learner I was and the type of person I wanted to become. As I progressed through school, I was learning how I interacted with others and how I was going to find success after high school. I set standards for myself and goals, and I learned to fail eventually. Our textbook defined learning as change due to experiences. The students in my classroom need to be able to change and to learn about who they are, what they're capable of, and also the content that needs to be taught. Many teachers poured into me and reminded me that change was good, and I hope to do the same for my students. Children not only learn content but behaviors too, which can be some of the most important lessons that they receive. Teachers can use behavioral learning to find the sources of the behavior and better control the classroom. Classroom management can make or break a classroom. Using behavioral learning can allow teachers to teach and allow students to learn. One thing that many of my classes taught me is that in order to receive respect from the students that we want, we have to also give it back to them. Building trust through having consistent set of classroom rules and strong behavior management is an opportunity for this respect to be built and exchanged between peers, teachers, and other staff in the building. Educational psychology has a big impact in the classroom and can change how a learner learns and how a teacher teaches. Through all of the theories, psychologists, and studies, the common denominator is the students and how important they are. As I begin teaching, I hope to remember what I learned about educational psychology. But overall, I hope to be the teacher that I always wanted. I hope to use what I learned to be the teacher that cares deeper than the surface of the student, and one that truly wants to change the lives of those in my classroom, just the way so many other teachers did for me.